welcome back to the channel. I'm Frank and this is Morals Over Money. So I did that little video on Diddy last week. Y'all seen to like it. Got a lot of positive feedback, asking to do more content like that. So I keep up with it. You got to remember, I'm an 80s baby. So when Diddy came out, that was my era. You know, I was 12, 13 years old. He was that dude. He absolutely was that dude. He was, you know, he was known for having the money, known for having the women, the cars. You know, he was that dude. So to me, to see this happening now, to be honest with you, it's kind of sad. I also see it as karma. When we do people wrong, 100%, that shit is going to come back and bite us in the ass. We might think we're taking a shortcut. We might think we're getting over. And we might on the front end, but on the back end, that shit is going to cost us way more than we gain from it. So once again, like I said in the last video, that's why it pays to just be straight up with people and treat people the way you would like to be treated, right? It's not hard. So they said when they executed the warrants, they were looking for electrical devices. Specifically, the producer, Little Rod, said that he had every single room in his home, it was bugged. So he was basically secretly recording people. So I thought about that. And y'all know I like to personalize everything. So I thought about that. And I said, okay, if I was a man of that stature, of that caliber, right? A billionaire, basically, how would I handle security in my home, right? I would have cameras in every room except for, you know, the bathroom, stuff like that. I wouldn't have them hidden though. I would have them out in the open. Maybe if it was public areas like the living room and the kitchen, you know, and a game room, stuff like that, maybe I would have them not so out in the open, just to see if you catch people stealing. You know, you never know what you can find on there. But I wouldn't have nothing hidden in places where you expect privacy, the bathroom, the bedrooms, you know, to a certain extent. You know, places like that where you expect privacy, you can't do that. It's, you know, it's not only is it immoral, but it's also illegal. So you can't do that. So I thought about that and I was like, well, damn, if it was my house, I would have cameras all over too. Because you have to realize that he might be doing business or have a friend and they might bring somebody else with, and maybe they bring somebody else with because they want to go to Diddy's house or they want to be around him, say they met him or whatever it might be. But the majority of people that come around, not only him, but others, realize that, man, I could say I fell down the steps. I could say I burned myself. I could say, you know, he said something rude to me and I can get a paycheck. I don't even have to sue them. I could just threaten to sue and they realize, well, damn, if he goes through with this lawsuit, I'm going to have to pay $100,000 in lawyer fees. Let me just give him $50,000 to get him out the way. You know, that happens all the time to successful and high profile people. You know, it's very well known. So that, for me, provides him a little bit more bail as far as the surveillance goes. But they said basically what they were looking for is videos that show people that appear to be young. All right? And y'all know I got to choose my words wisely because of YouTube's guidelines and standards. They also said that his sons were involved. You know, and once again, this is all alleged. This is coming off of Little Rod's lawsuit, right? He named a lot of people. He named, you know, Prince Harry. He named Stevie J. You know, he named a lot of people in that lawsuit. And that man was very close to Diddy for years. It's very well documented and known that they had a very tight relationship. Whether it was working or something else, you know, only they know that or other people that might have witnessed that. So as I was talking about this with Rachel, me and Rachel got to go to dinner last night and we were talking about this. And Rachel is always, when things like this come out, Rachel is always very protective and overprotective of females in any type of situation, because she knows just how easy it is for people to use their influence and you know, and threats of intimidation or threats and say, well, you're not gonna work anymore. You know, you're not going to progress in your career and stuff like that. And then I started thinking, as we were talking about that, I said, man, think about, they're taking a young kid, right? He wants to be in the music business, whether he's a producer, an artist, you know, whatever it might be. And Diddy tells him, yo, here, come on. I'm going to take you under my wing, right? You can stay in my house. We got 20 bedrooms. You can use any car you want. You don't have to worry about, you know, I'll even cut you a little salary. You don't have to worry about paying no bills. Said 99.9% of people, you're going to be like, oh shit, I made it, right? Then there's going to be that small portion of people be like, hold up, ain't nothing free in life, right? But then you're like, no, well, maybe not. You know, in that voice, you're going to have the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, and they're going to be talking to you. And you're going to be listening, and you're probably going to get caught up in all the glitz and glamour and be like, man, this dude can make all my dreams come true. And I'm sure for the first couple months, that's what it seems like. And then after that, once again, this lawsuit, he says that people were summoned, you know, and he put in the lawsuit, he was actually quoting Diddy's actual words. He said, look, I need you to come home and I need you to spend the night with me. If not, your internship is over, right? Think about that. That's 100%, that's immoral, that's unprofessional. You know, it might even verge on illegal, you know. But think about that, man. Think about a young man or a young woman. What are their choices, right? What are they going to do? What choice are they going to make? Deep down inside, their gut is probably going to be like, don't do it, especially if it's a male. They're probably going to be like, man, I can't do this. But then they're going to be like, damn, but how am I supposed to go back home and tell my friends and my family that I messed up this opportunity, right? Because even if I tell people the truth and say, yo, he wanted me to come home and spend the night with him, people are going to say, well, you should have done it. You know, if that changes your life and the ability to feed your family and put you in a situation that will absolutely alter your life and your children's life and your family's life, everybody around you, you should have done it. There's going to be people that say that. And then there's going to be a very small portion of people that say, nah, you know what? You did the right thing. You don't have to do that. You don't have to sell your soul. You know, think about it. Y'all already know I personalize everything. So I looked at it and said, what would I do if that was me? If somebody told me was to proposition me and say, yo, you know, I wanted all my dreams to come true. And I know I'm right there on the footstep. I'm right there on the doorstep of all this happening, all my dreams coming true. What would I do? Right? Absolutely, I would 100%. I'm not dealing with a man for any reason. You know, that's just not my thing. But those are my boundaries, right? Now, how about if they said something else? How about if he said, yo, I need you to go over here and do something violent to this person or that person? That's more along the lines of stuff that I would do, you know? And that's crazy because in essence, it's like addiction, right? All the stuff that we say we will never do, never say, never participate in, we do them because it changes us. And I think fame and influence and money does the same exact thing to people. So there's a guy, and this gentleman I personally know. We're not good friends or anything, but I personally know him. So he was on Diddy's show, the reality show back in the day called Making a Band. His name is Enes. He's a rapper from Philly. And he said, they asked him, they say, yo, would you get invited to these parties? And he said, yeah, I would get invited. He said, was there ever any funny business, anything? And he said, look, there was parts of the house that the majority of people couldn't access. We couldn't go when these parties were going on. He said they didn't want people like me. He said, you could look at me and tell I'm a street dude. He said they didn't want people like me. He said they wanted people that looked a certain way. Maybe they could push those boundaries with and take advantage of. And you think about that, and that's typical predator stuff, right? These predators, when they're looking for prey, they want the least amount of resistance, right? They want the easiest fight, you know? They don't want somebody who's gonna put up a resistance, right? They want somebody they can basically talk into doing what they want, as opposed to forcing by physical force. I think either way, this is crazy, man, and it's sad to see. And then also you have to think, people came out and they said, yo, this is exactly how Diddy got in the game. So you think If that's the way he was introduced to the game, right? Of course, he's not going to see nothing wrong with it. He's essentially going to see it as paying dues. Starting as an intern and having to work your way up to the mailroom, and then maybe you're a janitor, and then maybe you're working in the office, you know, and then you're an assistant, and then you're the manager, and so on and so forth. That's what they're going to view that as. And another thing that I thought of is in our communities, and in the black and brown communities, and you know, in the hoods, it's very commonplace for, if there's a dude that's out there getting money in the street, right? You will have parents that will try to push their daughters to that dude. And they know this dude's out there in the street getting money. He might go to jail any day. He might get killed any day, but they will still try to push their daughters to this man. That's extremely common. And they look at it as, okay, at least I know my daughter's going to be taken care of. She's going to have whatever she wants. And maybe even I'll benefit from this to a certain point. Listen, when I was in the streets, I had a friend of my sister's who her mother tried to like push her daughter to me, and her daughter, you know, was a beautiful young lady, but I seen her as my little sister. She grew up in my house. There was no way at all that those lines would get crossed or would even get blurred. You know, I seen her as my little sister. Even still to this day, she's a grown woman, beautiful woman. I see her as family. And I said, yo, you know what your mother's trying to do, right? And she said, yeah, I know. And it was even, you know, I was a young man in my mid-20s, getting money. And she was in like 11th or 12th grade. And her mother was telling me, yo, you should take my daughter to prom. And in my head, I was like, prom? Like, are you fucking crazy? What do I look like going to prom with a 16 or 17-year-old girl? It was just foreign to me, so foreign. I was like, what do I look like going to prom with some young girl? You know, I told the daughter that because, like I said, she was like my little sister. And she said, yeah, I know. She said, you should hear what I hear from her, you know. So, you know, I just thought I would throw that personal story in there. But think about it, man. Think about it. Like, think about what lines you would cross or what lines you absolutely would not cross to have all your dreams come true, right? For some of us, we're not going to cross any. For a lot of us, we're going to cross a lot of lines. And for some of us, there's not going to be any line that we wouldn't be willing to cross, right? Think about where you fit in on that. And a lot of times we don't know till we know, right? We don't know till we're put in that situation. We don't know until our hand is forced and we actually have to decide, okay, am I going to do this or that, right? So remember, the easiest way to stay out of this bullshit is to just keep your karma clean, man. Treat everybody accordingly. Treat people the way you would like to be treated. Be nice to people. Be kind, loving, and patient. Stay blessed. I thank y'all. Let's get this video to 500 likes. Let's go.